The late Queen was known for her quick wit, and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding was no exception. Queen Elizabeth II made a cheeky comment right after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding in 2018, and their 7th anniversary last month has brought it back into the spotlight. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex tied the knot on May 19, 2018, in St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Harry and Meghan's lavish ceremony was watched by millions around the world. The couple may now be estranged from the royal family, but their wedding day was a happy occasion, and the late Queen was eager to attend. The Sussexes chose Alexei Lubomirsky to take their wedding photographs, having previously worked with them for their official engagement shoot. On their 7th anniversary last month, Mr. Lubomirsky took to his social media to reveal what really happened behind the scenes when he took the official wedding day shots. The family portraits were taken in the green drawing room of Windsor Castle after the couple's carriage procession. The photographer said that he asked the Duke of Sussex for advice ahead of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's arrival, to which Harry replied, "My grandparents have taken so many pictures in their lives, it's not their fun part. If you don't get it quickly, they're just going to move out." Mr. Lubomirsky said that the royal couple arrived earlier than expected, with the photographer apologizing to the late Queen for making her wait. But it appeared it wasn't her that he should have been worrying about. The photographer told the late monarch, "I'm terribly sorry, Your Majesty, we're going to be about 5 minutes." The Queen replied, "It's not me you need to worry about." Her husband, Prince Philip, was known for his aversion to photo calls and would famously stand up just a few photographs in to signal that the session was over. Famed royal photographer Arthur Edwards told The Sun about his struggles to take pictures of the late Duke. "Photographing the Queen for many years was an absolute joy. Photographing Prince Philip for many years was not so good. I mean, he had not a lot of time for the media, and he sort of treated us a bit like telegraph poles. You know, just walk around us." The morning of May 19, 2018, dawned bright over Windsor. Despite the pressures and protocol of a royal wedding, a certain kind of warmth lingered in the air, an anticipation, not just of spectacle, but of union. Prince Harry, the once wild younger son of Princess Diana, was to marry Meghan Markle, an American actress with a voice, a vision, and, as some corners of the press couldn't stop whispering, a history. But behind the velvet drapes and polished oak of Windsor Castle, there was more than ceremony brewing. There were nerves. There were plans. There were ancient rhythms and modern tensions weaving together in a tapestry of royal tradition and personal hope. And of course, there was the Queen. Queen Elizabeth II had reigned for over 6 decades by then, and she had seen every kind of wedding, lavish and modest, jubilant and strained. This one, however, was different. Not because it was watched by millions or attended by celebrities, but because it was Harry's. And though she never said it in so many words, she had a soft spot for her fiery-haired grandson. As she entered the green drawing room at Windsor Castle that afternoon, flanked by Prince Philip, her sharp eyes took in the swirl of silk and the nervous photographer setting up near the ornate fireplace. The Queen had attended countless photo sessions like this. In fact, she had been photographed so many times that her expressions had become, at least to outsiders, inscrutable. But inside that small room, something memorable was about to happen. A moment not captured by the camera but by memory. Alexei Lubomirsky, a seasoned fashion photographer who had made his mark on runways and red carpets, now stood adjusting light meters and arranging small stools for the younger bridesmaids and page boys. Despite his usual poise, his hands trembled slightly. He had photographed presidents and supermodels, but royalty was a different game entirely. He glanced toward Harry, who had slipped into the room ahead of his grandmother and grandfather. "Any advice?" Alexei asked, trying to sound casual but clearly seeking guidance. Harry, loosening his collar ever so slightly, grinned. "My grandparents have taken so many pictures in their lives, it's not their fun part. If you don't get it quickly, they're just going to move out." Alexei chuckled nervously. Got it. Be quick. Precise. No retakes. But even with this warning, he wasn't ready for how quickly the royals would actually arrive. The door swung open earlier than expected. Queen Elizabeth, draped in a subtle but elegant mint ensemble and her signature pearls, entered with quiet grace. Prince Philip followed a few paces behind. His gait slowed slightly with age, but his posture still regal. Alexei, flustered, dropped his lens cap and scrambled to retrieve it. Rising, he bowed his head. "I'm terribly sorry, Your Majesty," he said, glancing at his watch. "We're going to be about 5 minutes." The Queen regarded him for a beat, her eyes twinkling with something between mischief and mild sympathy. And then came the 8 words, unrehearsed, honest, and quintessentially Elizabeth. Alexei blinked. Then, slowly, a smile spread across his face as understanding dawned. The Queen's gaze had already shifted toward her husband, who was glaring at the light setup as if it were an adversary on a battlefield. Prince Philip had a reputation that preceded him, a man of action, allergic to pomp, and deeply uninterested in the rituals of photography. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were a partnership forged in the crucible of history and duty. But those who knew them best often said that they balanced each other in curious and unexpected ways. Where she was composed and enigmatic, he was blunt and restless. Where she endured, he defied. And in photo sessions, that contrast became painfully evident. In the early years of their marriage, royal photographers had learned quickly. The Queen would hold her pose for as long as needed, but Prince Philip would fidget, then sigh, then, within minutes, announce, "That's enough," and stand up. Arthur Edwards, a veteran royal photographer, once described him as a man who treated the media like telegraph poles, just something to walk around. This day was no different. As the family assembled for the portraits, Harry and Meghan radiant and newly married, Prince William and Kate with their children, Meghan's mother Doria standing with quiet grace, Prince Philip began to shift. He crossed his arms, then uncrossed them, then adjusted his stance, then looked toward the door. Lubomirski's assistant began snapping shots, trying to capture the perfect moment. "Just one more, Your Royal Highness," Alexei pleaded. Prince Philip sighed. "We said 5 minutes." "We're almost done," the assistant said helpfully. "You said that 3 clicks ago." At that moment, the Queen caught Alexei's eye again. A single, raised eyebrow. A ghost of a smile. She hadn't moved an inch. The message was clear. "Told you so." What few people realize is that the most enduring royal portraits, the ones used in albums, displayed in halls, or shown to the public, often owe their magic to fleeting candidness. A glance between brothers. A shared laugh between newlyweds. A grandmother smirking at her husband's stubbornness. And that day, amidst the elaborate florals and ornate tapestries, Alexei captured a moment that may never have made the front pages, but lived in royal memory. One frame showed the Queen subtly turning her head toward Prince Philip, who was halfway out of his seat. Meghan, noticing it too, covered her mouth to stifle a laugh. Harry, ever the grandson of mischief, gave a mock salute. It was real. It was them. It was family. The world watched Harry and Meghan's wedding for its pageantry, its diversity, and its modern break from convention. There was an American preacher, a gospel choir, a parochial duchess walking partway alone down the aisle. It was, in many ways, a reimagining of what royalty could look like in the 21st century. But for Queen Elizabeth, the day was both modern and timeless. She had seen the world change beyond recognition, through wars, revolutions, scandals, and rebirths. And yet, she remained a constant. Her comment to the photographer wasn't just a throwaway line. It was vintage Elizabeth. Aware, witty, and kind with an edge. It reminded everyone that though the throne may be surrounded by ceremony, The woman who sat upon it was keenly human. When news of the Queen's passing in 2022 reached the world, tributes poured in from leaders and citizens alike. But it was stories like these, small, personal, funny, that painted the fullest picture of the monarch. Lubomirski, years later, posted the anecdote on the anniversary of the Sussexes' wedding. His followers were captivated not just by the behind-the-scenes detail, but by what it said about the Queen's character. "It's not me you need to worry about." 8 words. But in those words lived a monarch's entire philosophy. Keep calm, carry on, and maybe toss in a dry joke for good measure. As Harry and Meghan marked their 7th wedding anniversary in May 2025, the world had changed dramatically since that day at Windsor. The Sussexes were now in California, building a life away from royal obligations, yet never quite free of the public eye. They'd spoken out, distanced themselves from the firm, and made choices that shocked some and inspired others. But one thing remained true: the wedding was a moment of genuine joy. And Queen Elizabeth was part of it, not just as a monarch, but as a grandmother, a family member, and a woman who could make a photographer laugh just when he needed it most.